I actually just watched Oppenheimer last week, and we won't really go into spoilers, but that movie is really based in the perspective of Oppenheimer and what the discussions were like at that time, where nuclear bombs hadn't been used, weren't really being developed. They didn't really have the science to even understand how to do it yet.
How much will it affect religion? If you find like 100% confirmed like aliens exist, like how much is that going to affect, you know, more or less what the Bible says, or like what like religions and kind of things like that? Like, bro, how about LA Noire, a detective game?
Yeah.
And you're speaking with AI that's like, you know, one of these is kind of like a murderer.
Imagine if those specific AIs, if now they have their own answers to their questions, what if they start coming up with their own ideas? Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pioneer Podcast. This podcast started about a year ago, just myself. But now on this revamped version, we have my friend here, Fam.
What's up?
He does the vlogging, all the behind the scenes stuff. And then we have Ledge, a childhood best friend. We've grown up doing so much in music and performance and so many different things. So I wanted to bring them on the podcast. What were you going to say?
A lot.
Too much.
Too much.
Yeah. So wanted to have the guys on to be able to have these podcast conversations. And I hope you guys enjoy the episode.
Nice.
All right. Boys.
Now we just roll.
Yes, the first thing that I want to talk about is you sent it to me first, I think. No, it was Fam. You sent it to me first.
Yeah.
The UFO stuff. Mm-hmm. So I watched it today. It was about like 2 hours and 43 minutes.
I watched
Crazy.
about an hour of it.
Okay, so you got through most of the good
Yeah,
stuff.
I
Because
got
I
it.
noticed like it was the first hour and a half that really got to a lot of the meat and potatoes.
Yep.
So for anyone that doesn't know, and I know you didn't watch it at all.
Yeah.
It's about 2 hours and 46 minutes. There's three witnesses that have different levels of government work. One of them was an ex-pilot, and he has firsthand witness of the Tic Tac video. If you've heard about that, that's like a very well-known UFO sighting video. And they're just basically starting to state things for the public record for the government, right? A lot of what they said in front of Congress today, they've already said in other interviews and stuff. But today, what makes it really important, and some people are kind of undermining, is the fact that now it's written in government.
Yeah.
This is official.
Under oath.
Under oath. There's video recording. There's audio recording of it. There's, different people in forms of government that are there listening in. Like, this is for real, for real. Nothing really new. I think the big things that people are talking about is one of the guys confirmed that there's been bodies found inside of these UFO crashings.
Yeah, which is what I saw today was they're saying like under oath, officially we have someone saying that they're alien or non-human bodies.
Exactly.
I was like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And it's been said many times before that people think that there are aliens and that we have possession of them, and we've had interviews with them and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's been like rumors and controversy or conspiracy theories and all that stuff. That's what we were talking about in the Discord earlier. Was we were just going at it like that. Where SEU, one of our community members was telling us like, how could you not believe this? Which I'm with him. I believed all the rumors and the conspiracy theories and all that before, and he's like, how are you not taking this seriously? And I was like, because I feel like I've known this.
Yes, I was actually having that same discussion with Bella today, and she saw it before I did.
Yeah.
Because she woke up earlier than me. She woke me up telling me that she's already 2 hours in and almost done with it.
Yeah.
And she was really excited and stuff. And then I watched it and listened to it, and afterwards I wasn't as excited as she was in the morning because of that same stand of view where I feel like I already believed these things. I kind of felt like they were mostly true. If anything, today it's a really positive step in making this more official and actually spending, government money and doing things to try and discover and figure out, what this all means. Because more important than finding these UFOs and aliens, it's like it just changes how much we know about the world, and it definitely puts a different image in our head of the technology that's out there that we don't even have access to. And in one of the sightings, apparently the UFO traveled 16 miles away in under a minute. And a lot of these sightings, it's like they're hovering perfectly in the sky, and then they just vanish. Yeah. That's how fast they're going.
Yeah.
And there's no technology that exists right now. And actually, it made me think of the new Flash movie that just came out. There was a moment where spoiler alert. There's two Flashes, one from a different universe, kind of like what happened with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And one of the Flashes doesn't have powers. So for a human, you're not supposed to move them quickly because it can cause sickness, like motion sickness. So he's going super fast and he's about to get hit by a bullet, one of the Flashes. So he moves him like 5 feet away. And then right after he moves him, he starts vomiting like crazy. And it shows you like the human body can't handle motion that fast.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see that. But the same thing, like we don't even have the technology to go that fast. That's fucking crazy to think about.
And not only go that fast, but the part where I listened to, they were saying that they got it in infrared and there was no thermal signature of exhaust or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then the government was like, do we have anything that is able to do that? And the guy's like, no, not even remotely close.
No. And it's just crazy because I actually just watched Oppenheimer last week, and we won't really go into spoilers, but that movie is really based in the perspective of Oppenheimer and what the discussions were like at that time, where nuclear bombs hadn't been used, weren't really being developed. They didn't really have the science to even understand how to do it yet. And if anything, we're kind of like in that phase right now with UFOs and with aliens, essentially, where we don't know what's next. We don't understand how it could even be possible. It's really going to honestly disrupt a lot of the minds of the American people, not even American people, all around the world. Because for many people who live on certain morals and religions, like this is destructive. This is saying that there's other life out there. And for a lot of people, that's going to be mind blowing. So we're like at the precipice of our timeline of about to dive into whatever this all means.
Yeah. And I feel a lot of people were ahead of the game more or less because of, at least me personally, I listen to a lot of the Joe Rogan podcast. I think you do as well, right?
Yeah, I do.
So he talks about this like all the time. So a lot of the TikTok stuff, like all the reportings they have, like I kind of agree with you before. It was like, it's not really anything new. Like I kind of heard about this, but like the fact that like they're having like an official discussion about this, I feel like it kind of was like the stamp on top of it. I'm like, oh, this is serious now. It's not just like
I think it affects like two kinds of people, really. The Americans who are, you know, just living a very regular life. They do not go onto the internet. They don't have discussions where they're not in the news. And for the, you know, for the politics to start to introduce these conversations and make it official in government is like a wake up to the regular citizen that's like, oh my God. And then just to the rest of the world, seeing how one of the most powerful countries in the world is doing this officially. Like to think that a government would take this topic seriously, you wouldn't have thought, even 5 years ago, that something like this would happen. So it's just crazy. It's just showing how much we're going to see in our lifetime. And I can't wait to find out.
Another little, at least for me and probably Law as well, one interesting thing that I thought about this before as well, like a really long time ago. And I talked to my parents and I've talked to like people around my church as well, because it also brings up a little bit of religion as well. Because it's like, yo, like how much will it affect religion if all of a sudden like aliens just come out and they're like, like we just like, we created, like if we find like 100% confirmed like aliens exist, like how much is that going to affect, you know, more or less what a Bible says, or like what like religions and kind of things like that. Like that's another thing I'm like, yo, that's gonna be crazy. Like, that's a much deeper conversation right there.
I kind of brushed over it earlier, but I think I had this conversation maybe with you once, and I think with Cam, but maybe it was with Leo too. But just mentioning how it was definitely Leo, but how these conversations, and if it comes out that a lot of this is true, we start finding real hard evidence. It's going to destroy a lot of people just from the basis of religion and what you believe in. You know, I don't know which specific religions we could call out right now, but certain ones that believe that life is lived here, you know, and that there isn't a greater universe with other beings that are conscious in the world having other experiences, or even the multiversal conversation that there's other yous in infinite other universes. Like, you tell someone who doesn't believe in those things, and now there's actually hard evidence, and you know, for the faithful and for the people, they'll just believe that it's not true and move on with their lives and be stubborn, and you know, that's how people would choose to live. But even to this day, there's many religions that could be disproved, but when your faith is strong, people are hard to move,
Yeah.
no matter what they believe.
And I think that at least when I talked to some people about this, when I brought it up, a lot of them were saying it was like, I mean, they were kind of like understanding. They're like doubtful, obviously. Like not a lot of people that I know of personally like fully believe in aliens or fully sold on it. But then when I did discuss this with them, a lot of them were saying, I was like, well, I mean, the Bible doesn't say anything about outer space and aliens, more or less. Like it doesn't go. So it's like it's fully possible that like they could still keep their beliefs if they're like willing to like understand it.
Right. Like if it didn't say it at all, then maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
It just didn't pertain to
Yeah,
us.
maybe.
And
And
it wasn't supposed to be human involved or whatever.
Yeah, in a way, I think about it as well. It was kind of like all living things are kind of like animals, more or less, and like like fish live in the sea. They're built for that environment. They're built for the sea. Birds are built for the skies. We're built for here. Like some things are built to live underground, and then some things are built to live in outer space. Like there's now now we know like like certain things can live in outer space, and it's like they're intelligent at another level. I'm like, yeah, like ants are intelligent at their level. We're intelligent at our level. Aliens are intelligent at that level. Fish, it's kind of like everything is built around their environment and they're smart and adapted to live in each different thing. So like, how much different are we from, certain
Yeah.
things?
And
It's
even
like,
who's to say how intelligent they are? Like even one of the questions that was said today was asking about, if these are highly intelligent beings, how did they just crash here? And how did we recover their bodies? How would they allow that to be possible? And I think it was the guy who was the ex-pilot just said like car crashes happen, plane crashes happen. There are missions that fail, even for anyone. To have 100% success rate, and who knows how long of their history,
yeah,
they're bound to crash or make a mistake or something. I mean, even with their technology, who knows? So
yeah,
maybe it's not the best answer, but it just shows you like
it's a possibility.
it's a possibility. And even if they are, let's say aliens, we don't know how conscious or how intelligent they are. Maybe their technology is, but the way that we understand it, maybe those two things don't necessarily, rely on each other. Maybe they weren't even the ones who built it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we could go deep down the rabbit hole, but there's just like so much that we don't know.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of what we try to form in our minds is how we've seen it in different media, like
Yeah.
how we've seen it in movies and shows, like, oh, this is how aliens work. This is how this works. This is how it's just going to happen. But there's so much about all of this that we're still unaware of. So it excites me, dude.
Oh, it's
It's a
really
big day, man. It's a big day. And people are talking about it too.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
And, I was looking at TikTok today, and then people in the comments are like, they're just trying to distract you from what's going on in politics and the government. I'm like, is it a distraction? I feel like if we found out that there's something infinitely more intelligent than us that could, if they can disappear in a second, imagine what they could do to us when they're angry.
Yeah.
It's important to know that there's a threat, and if it's not a threat, how we can learn from them and how we can advance our own species. Because all of the statements that were made today as well were made in a non-violent way. Like they said that the experiences that were happening with them were non-violent, and that they didn't show any signs of, anger or revenge or something like that. Even though one of them said that there was some contact and some physical shit, but there's so much they couldn't allude to and say. They'd be like, yeah, we can stay in closed quarters. So
Yeah.
we'll never hear those conversations.
Let's hope they're peaceful.
Yeah, let's
hope
fucking
they're peaceful.
let's cross our fingers. And that just brings me back to Oppenheimer, like, and thinking about that movie and the decisions that they made at that point, like dropping a nuke on the world. Like it's just crazy, man. That movie was incredible. I actually spent about that rest of the day after watching Oppenheimer just like zoning out, thinking about my existence, what it means. Like if something like that is possible, then it's just what could happen in the future.
It's possible in the 40s too. Possible in the 40s.
Crazy. I think about how much
now-
time has
now here we
passed
are
and
here.
nothing's been dropped.
Yeah.
Like no other nukes have been dropped. But
Yeah.
imagine the technology that exists that could surpass something like
Yeah.
the atomic bomb.
Yeah. I'm not much of a history buff, but I mean, just think about like, how they kind of viewed human beings before and kind of how they view them now. Like, obviously, it's still very much a possibility, but like,
Yeah.
for you to like just constantly just drop a bomb and kill millions of like just innocent people. Like nowadays, it's kind of like
Yeah.
I feel like it's a bit harder now.
back
But
then-
it still happens.
Back then, it was all about dehumanizing your enemy.
Yeah.
You know, making it easier to kill them. You know,
Right.
So
Yeah.
nowadays we have different standards now.
I think
I think it's safe to say.
internet as well. I mean, like you can see someone like across the world. Like you could see a live
a great
video
point.
footage
It's-
of them. It definitely humanizes them a lot more.
Great point.
It's weird now seeing the whole Russia Ukraine stuff happening, and we get cell phone videos of it. Like,
Yeah, dude, especially at
people
the
in their-
beginning,
like
it
just
was-
people in their apartments just filming. Now they're using the drones, you know,
Yeah.
like not like advanced drones, but like little RC drones. It's crazy.
Cell phone footage of like people's front yards with just bodies just stacked. Like, it's crazy to think, you know, over time, and if we had technology like that back in the day, what we could have captured,
Yeah.
and how much of history has been lost because we just didn't know how to document it, or we didn't have the ability to document it in a way that could be preserved 100,000 years in the future.
Yeah.
And how long did we do things and keep track of our history through writing, and how much of that could have been manipulated? Like, imagine if we're talking about ancient times, like ancient Rome, or even back to the times of Muhammad and Jesus, like all of that stuff. And it was perfectly 4K filmed and audio and fucking scripted and everything. Like, it's crazy. But now looking towards the future for generations, our kids, they're going to be able to see every game from LeBron's first championship to his last. You know, they're going to be able to see every basketball game of that season. They're going to be able to see every, you know, discussion about UFOs with Congress. They're going to be able to see every documentation about whatever happens in, you know, the military and what other nukes we end up dropping. Like, all of that shit is it's so crazy.
If technology stays up, if we do go like something hits us in like Stone Age, is like that's a lot of, because I forgot who I was listening to something where they're talking about how back in the day, if it wasn't like kind of in stone, like even like metal and things like that, like wood and anything written in anything else, it goes away with, you know, not that much time. Like I think 10 years of nature just taking its course, it can just wreck something. But stone, it's like it holds up a lot longer. That's why they say, you know, whole like written in stone. It's like that's there to stay.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, like imagine like some EMP hits us, we lose technology and shit. And it's like,
I mean, they
that's-
say
that's
that,
everything's gone.
They say that that's happened. I mean, there are theories that say that there was a civilization that lived, you know, thousands and thousands of years ago. I think the estimation was around like 10, 12,000 years ago, that was potentially more advanced in other ways than we are now, but could have been lost to
I've heard
a
of
comet
that.
storm, could have been lost to many things, you know, like how long in our history have we had to go through to get to 7 billion people? Like, and especially now we get to live to 90, but when everyone's dying at 30, it's so hard to continue evolving and, you know, and procreating and creating more kids. Like, it's just every, you know, 20 years of life that you're actually living, are you learning and being able to pass it to the next person? It's like so much can be lost. It's crazy, man, thinking about all that stuff. You think we got back in the day, maybe some civilization got wiped out? Probably many, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, you gotta assume, right? Like with the pyramids, and not even just in Egypt, the pyramids in South America, and you know, all over the place.
Yeah, they say that the Sahara Desert was green,
Yeah.
perfectly green and lush and fruitful, and now it's just all covered in sand.
Yeah.
don't they say that's where the Atlantis was?
According to some text, wasn't one place. It was just the capital of multiple provinces or multiple colonies. You know, like that was the capital where everyone went shopping. You know, but who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah,
I mean,
it all got lost with time.
since I was a kid, man, I've thought about Atlantis underwater. Like,
Right?
it's just the perfect.
Did you ever play Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
Yes.
That DLC?
Yes.
That's how I always pictured it.
Yes. It's not even in the DLC. It's in the main game.
Oh yeah.
It's-
The DLC goes into it. Though.
Yeah, it goes
Like,
into it more.
in
I
depth.
think I got into like hour
I couldn't
60 before you
finish
get to
it.
Atlantis.
Yeah, I couldn't. I never finished that DLC, but I got down there. You know, I finished the main game, so. But that's how I pictured it always.
Yeah.
I love anything abandoned.
Yeah.
It's just so cool. It's such an interest, like the idea of just having like a whole city just roaming around, like even the ones in like the Amazon, like I don't know. For me, it's always intrigued me, like anything abandoned, like an abandoned boat, like on those underwater things where like guys are swimming through it or anything like that. All of that stuff, like it interests me. That's why like I didn't play them, but I loved watching any of the Uncharted games
Yeah.
because
Oh,
like he's going.
I watched I watched Hollow's playthrough of those.
Yeah.
I just couldn't stop watching them.
It's so
the story
interesting.
was so
It's the
interesting.
perfect
Yeah.
landscape, bro. It's the treasure hunting. It's the mystery. It's all the action. It's great. I only played up to the second Uncharted, and then my PlayStation got fried. So I lost everything, and I lost the motivation to keep going. And then I didn't get my PS5 till like 10 months later. So I fell off. I'm like, one day I'm gonna do 3, 4, and I think there's like a fifth one, and there's another one with I think it's 2 girls, something like that. But yeah, man, same thing. Like growing up, that was the type of content that I loved, was stuff like that. Stuff like
The
that.
mystery and the conspiracy theories and
Yeah, like treasure hunting. I didn't really get into Indiana Jones. I know that just came out, but kind of, the similar
I
concept.
guess that was a big flop, huh?
What?
The newest Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a remake. I mean, it's hard to like, especially I don't know, bringing something like that up again. It's like I have you watched the old?
It's a remake or it's like a
not a remake, not a spinoff. It's just like another added sequel,
an
but it's
addition?
like an addition. But like, have you watched the old Indiana Jones movie?
dude, I might have watched like the first one when I was about 11 and I don't remember anything.
Ah, dude, watch
And
it.
then when I was in Atlanta, I retried the first one and I got to like I got to like minute 35. I was like, this is so old that I need to be in that mood. You know what I mean? Because I didn't expect it. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, like all the practical stunts, and then the audio is so bad. And I was just like, oh yeah, maybe not on my off day.
Yeah.
I think I'll watch something else.
I think it's one of those series where
It's really good.
it was really good, but now they're kind of just like beating the dead horse.
Yeah, I mean, after
Yeah.
you get past like the third movie,
It's like we always bring it up, Jurassic Park,
yeah,
where it's just you just gotta end it.
Yeah, the first one wasn't too bad. No, I think there is 3. So the first one was okay. The second one was like, it's getting worse. It's still not good. They're still not good movies. The third one was, I wish I fell asleep. I wish
Damn.
someone came and punched me and knocked me out because.
damn. Does that one have Chris Pratt too?
Yeah, no one else has Chris. Pratt.
Damn.
That's the one where they bring back Jeff Goldblum. They bring back the old cast.
Oh yeah. I saw a promo for that, but I didn't end up watching it.
Oh, weird.
One of the worst movies I think I've ever seen. It was terrible.
Damn.
I'm telling you, it's one of those series where we just gotta put it to bed.
Please, yeah.
I've said this once out loud, and
No.
I will put it here for documentation. But you just said one of the worst movies you've ever seen. One of the worst movies I've ever seen, and I know film buffs are gonna hate me for this because I've told one of them, Davi from Redux Cinema, and he was very upset with me.
Oh, I know.
But Midsummer is one of the worst movies I have ever seen in my life. At every like 10 minutes, I was like, bro, I just can't. Cult movies just don't. Have you seen it?
No.
It's a cult movie.
I've seen a recap of it. I got the whole idea of the story and everything. Yeah.
I'm like, I get what's happening, but none of this plot is intriguing at all. It's like you made a movie out of something that I didn't really even care to see a movie of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, it's entertainment. And it's like, if that's not what you're into, like, it doesn't matter how good a movie is. Like,
Yeah.
if that's just not what you're into, that's not what you're into.
I'm not saying bad performances,
Yeah.
bad acting. I'm not saying the director made a mistake. I'm not saying the lighting was bad. I'm saying plot-wise, just wasn't for me, didn't hit at all.
Yeah.
On a scale from 0 to 10, it hit me 0.
Gosh.
But
Just
you
that
know,
low.
just
that
don't
down
come after me.
Yeah.
Okay.
But, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, well, one thing I've noticed in kind of like what Jurassic Park did as well, kind of going back to that one, it was like I hate it how it's about dinosaurs,
Yeah.
but that's like the least amount of things showed on there.
Yeah.
And I hate when movies do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
The thing I was commenting to everyone was when I watched the the Batman, the one with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
Pattinson. I love the fact that like it's a Batman movie. 90% of the movie, it's Batman, and they show very little of Bruce Wayne. And I'm like, I love that because I'm here to watch a Batman movie. If I'm watching Jurassic Park or Jurassic World, I'm here to see dinosaurs, and especially the one where they hyped it up, where like dinosaurs are going to be in the city. Dinosaurs weren't in the city ever in that movie. It was like, I'm here to watch a dinosaur movie. Where are the dinosaurs?
Yeah, it reminds me of, I think they call it like the Beast Cinematic Universe or something like that, but with King Kong and Godzilla, same shit. If you remember the first King Kong from like 2006, the first hour and a half, you don't even meet Kong yet.
Yeah.
I'm like, what am I doing here? And then another 2 hours, you finally meet him, but still, I mean, good build up. Yeah, James Cameron as well, I'm pretty sure. Incredible. But even with the other ones that have come out, even Kong vs. Godzilla, that was a little bit better. That one, they started focusing on them more. But I hate when those movies focus on the humans. It's like, that's not what I'm here for, man. I want to see the dinosaurs start eating people for 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in the politics of dinosaurs shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't have done this. You did it. Now let me see it happen.
Let me see the results. Let me see the consequences.
Exactly.
Or when
I
it's
just
like,
want to watch people get eaten, man.
or when it's like the, you know, like the in Kong versus Godzilla, it's like now you got to follow like the side story of like the kids that are somehow gonna save the day and all this. When are kids gonna save the day?
Never.
And anything? No, they're running away. Shut
Never.
up and let me see a monster.
If that was real, unless we're sending a nuke at them, we're fucked.
Yeah.
So let's just tell that story because that's the most interesting part of the
Just
story.
nuke the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I mean, the next thing up is going to be nuking these aliens. So we'll see how that goes, man.
What do we aim at, the sky? We're gonna nuke aliens.
I don't know,
Figure it out,
man.
man.
I don't know.
Figure it out.
You know, who's to say that there's even a galaxy out there? You know, none of us have been to space. I think about
true.
that often. Like, do we really know what's out there?
Nah.
No. And even the footage that's recorded of Mars, how many people think that's fake? I watched a video the other day, actually, and there's really close zoom in footage when you see that clearly looks like green screen and harnesses. Like you can see people grabbing things that aren't there. It's crazy. I'll send it to you later, but just shows you, man. Have you guys
On
ever
the
seen the
moon, you
Truman
mean?
Show? Yeah, on the moon. There's a footage that shows someone grabbing a harness that's not there, and if you have a harness, then you're on a green screen, like you're not actually floating. And then someone pulling on a wire that's not there. And then there was one where this guy goes into another part of the space station and he kind of like fades as if like he became transparent. It was so weird. So weird. Now that could have been doctored and stuff, but just if we're going down this rabbit hole, like just to think about that stuff. Have you ever seen the Truman Show?
No.
Have you ever seen the Truman Show?
I have, really long time ago, but funny enough, like I think last week or 2 weeks ago, I got a random urge to watch that movie because I remember it was such a good movie.
Banger.
Such a
Jim
good
Carrey.
movie. Yeah.
Watch it. It basically goes over this topic. It's this guy who doesn't know that he's the lead actor in a movie, not in a movie, in a show.
Yeah.
For his entire life, and everything, every moment is scripted and documented, and he doesn't even know.
So it's a whole, like,
everyone in his life is a paid actor.
it's a whole town pretty much, all of paid actors, and he's the only one that like was born into it, and he thinks everything is real, and he's slowly starting to figure out that like, you know, oh, these people are kind of paid actors. And like I was watching a video and it was like them like showing like little details that like that director put in there, so like it kind of shows people are paid actors. Like on one of the scenes, like he's talking with a guy stacking a vending machine, and when he looks away, the guy quickly like grabs chocolates that he put in, takes them out, and then starts putting them back in slowly once he sees that the conversation's still going. And like little details like that. And I was like, oh, I just need to watch that movie again.
You have to watch it. It's very, very good. It's
How
classic.
do you even come up with that concept?
You start
That's crazy.
examining the world and questioning everything. Like everything. You start to go, okay, man, is this real? Like, is the sky real? The sky could just be a projection of something else. In the Truman Show, kind of a spoiler for you, you should still watch it. But even the sky is fake, right?
Yeah.
It's a dome that he's in. It's not actual the sky that he's looking at. It's just
That's
a projection of the
insane.
sky that he thinks is the sky. And he, you know, so I don't want to spoil anything, but it comes from, I mean, I bet if you ask the writer, it just comes from questioning life and everything. And just if everything really was fake, what would it look like? You know?
Yeah, I think we're kind of lacking good, very original movies like that. A lot of movies nowadays, it kind of feels like it's the same storyline, the same like if you're watching like, a movie like Kong versus Godzilla, like I'm midway through the movie, I'm like I already know how it's gonna end.
Yeah. Like Avatar: Way of Water.
Yeah,
That was my biggest critique of that movie. It's just like vanilla. You kind of knew where it was going, what was going to happen, who's going to redeem who's going to die. Like it's just like I feel the whole setup happening the whole time.
Yeah, like movies are still worth it to watch for like the visuals of it, like action sequences. It's like and how beautiful they can make a world. It still makes it worth it. And then comedy, the comedies in movies still hit sometimes. But then once you look at it, it's like, yeah, if I'm looking at it solely story wise, it's hard to get a movie that's like, oh, the story was really, really good and original.
I have a theory. I think that's coming back though now. I think we're at the post superhero era of filmmaking. And I think we're also coming out of an era where comedy was kind of getting canceled. And now it's coming out of that.
Yeah.
And the bright spot of that is going to be seeping back into mainstream media where everything is going to be super brutal again.
Yeah.
It's almost like counteracting, or counterbalancing from what was happening in culture. So I think we're right there with that stuff's going to change. The movies like Oppenheimer, Barbie, different approaches, unexpected things, pushing agendas, like coming out of that phase where everyone was trying to make things simple and not push any buttons. And now it's time to fucking push the buttons again.
Yeah.
Well, I was watching a video about the guy just talking about, more or less, not really the opposite, but it's kind of like I think he was talking about why The Flash had such bad CGI. And he was saying something about how like CGI companies are like, they need a bid on like the movie. So they like, obviously they got to do whoever's cheapest and can do it fastest. And then so like, you kind of start noticing like, oh, like companies like they're kind of rushing movies nowadays where like they just got to pump it out. So then that's why like movies are kind of losing more and more quality. Why like
Rushing them, man.
CGI from the first Jurassic Park movie compared to actually no, it's not even these practical effects, but like Jurassic Park, like the very first Jurassic Park, I like rewatched it like a couple of months ago and I was like, bro, this is still like such a realistic movie and it's still such a beautiful movie.
We counted on practical effects, like
and we took our
actual
time.
mechanical dinosaurs and part green screen, but like mostly, controlled by a remote controller and all electronic and stuff like that.
And taking our time with like actually doing a movie, and it was like, hey, let's actually make sure this looks good.
I mean, Oppenheimer was all practical, no CGI.
I'm pretty sure that it was filmed fairly quickly too.
Yeah, I saw something like that. Check. It might be like 90-ish days. I might have seen something like that, which is pretty short, maybe 70-ish to 90-ish days. But just, that's already fast. But I'm so glad they did the practical effects because if anyone hasn't seen this movie yet, it's very good. I think it was very unexpected when I went into it. I was expecting, I think, because of the promotion, a lot to do with the actual explosion and the effects and what was going to happen, but it was much more about the journey of the creation and seeing it specifically from the perspective of Oppenheimer.
They're saying filming
57 days.
Wow.
February to May.
Wow.
Which is quick.
But that's a seasoned director.
Yeah.
He knows before shooting exactly what he wants to do.
With seasoned actors.
With seasoned actors, exactly what a cast.
Yeah.
Knowing exactly what he wants, what it looks like, sounds like, feels like. He's just prepped. He's not going to shoot day going, maybe we should. He's making slight suggestions, slight tactical maneuvers, but someone that's that decorated and intelligent, bro, and who's made movies that are incredible. Inception, Interstellar, some of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight trilogy, incredible. Dunkirk, some really great movies. So he's going to set knowing exactly what he wants to do.
Yeah. I'm wondering how much of Oppenheimer was like even cut.
Oh yeah, like raw
a great
footage
question.
time. It might be probably like, I don't know. It depends because they'll say that it goes through phases. So at one point it could be fucking 6 hours.
Yeah.
But anyways, have you guys?
I keep getting like into
just
the
saying 3
conversation too much.
You keep getting what?
Like into the conversation too much, and I'm just like,
No, you can. Christopher Nolan, right? The one that did Oppenheimer. I just I think Saturday watched the Dark Knight. Top 10 favorite movies.
First time?
No, 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 no,
Oh.
no, no, no.
I was about to say.
Holy
Again,
shit.
again.
Even I have seen
I've
that
watched that
and I don't
movie.
watch movies.
I've watched that movie like 20 times.
Yeah.
20 times. I love The Dark Knight. Wait, no.
The first one, Batman Begins.
No. So the Batman Begins and then
Dark Knight Rises.
Okay, yeah. So I watched The Dark Knight. And then a couple days ago I watched Dark Knight Rises again. But both of those is like but The Dark Knight is like one of my favorite movies, bro. I've watched that
Yeah.
movie like 20 times. It's so good.
I'm with you.
And then Christopher Nolan movies. Tenet.
Yeah.
I watched Tenet as well.
Yeah.
Love that movie.
Tenet
as well.
fucked me up, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I just saw. I mean, I get it, but like, I don't get it.
The first time watching it, did you get it?
That's a good question because I saw it twice,
Me too.
and I also had incredibly bad audio issue with that movie. I went to 2 different theaters within the same theater, and then I had to go somewhere else because by the second one, I was like, I can't hear anything.
Apparently, that
That was a big
common
thing at that
That was a
time. I
big
think it
thing.
was just mixing was bad and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and they changed it for the Blu-ray and all that stuff. But I'm pretty sure I walked out of the first one being like, I don't know, I don't know what I just saw.
I the same exact thing for me. I had to watch it again. So that's one of the few movies I've watched twice in theaters. But yeah, watching it the second time and kind of looking over it, I'm like, oh, like as the movie's going, I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah. It's one of those where it's like it's just so much misdirection and great writing and trying to guide the audience one way and then rip them the other way when they're not expecting it.
I'm gonna break some people's hearts, but or have some people be very disappointed in me. But I still haven't watched Interstellar. That's a movie I need to watch. I just
Don't look at me. I haven't watched it either.
really
I don't watch many movies.
disappointed. I haven't watched it. And I'm disappointed. Dude, I know. It's bad.
Yikes.
It's bad.
I'm sorry.
Yikes. We're going to have to do that together
Yes.
because I have to see your reaction.
Yeah.
I won't go into it, but I just remember very vividly every time I tell this story about Interstellar for the first time. Walked out of the theater. It was nighttime, maybe like 10 o'clock when we got out. But it was in the summertime. Maybe it was a little bit earlier. So the sky was like not all the way dark. And I just looked up. And bro, I never looked at space in the universe like that ever in my life. I was just like,
It just keeps going.
oh my God. I mean, I would have like crisis moments when I was like 8 years old thinking about life and like, what do you mean it never ends? And just like, but after Interstellar, I just looked out and that whole day I was fucked up. I was just thinking about like everything. There's so many specific things, but I don't want to say them to spoil it.
Yeah.
It's just that good.
Dude,
But,
the writers to just go into that much detail and
I'm pretty sure Christopher Nolan wrote that one too. He's written most of his movies.
oh yeah.
Yeah, he wrote Tenant.
Yeah.
I think he wrote Interstellar. I think he wrote Inception. I think he wrote most of them. I know that Oppenheimer is based on a book named American Prometheus, and he basically adapted it and added a few things. But I'm pretty sure most of his movies he's written,
Yeah.
which is also incredible. At that level, you're writing and you're directing.
Yeah.
Like you're the whole package, man. You can do everything.
Now, kind of going into our next topic, but do you think there's gonna be, or like, no, there's definitely gonna be a movie completely written by AI, but how soon do you think there's gonna be just a movie 100%
Well,
written
let
by
me
AI?
tell you, perfect transition, because just I think 6 days ago, this new AI came out in this game demo that you can look up. I forget the exact name of it, but in the demo, you can go up into a city, like think about New York City, and you can walk around to all the AI in the video game and talk to them and have organic conversations. You can ask them anything and they will reply to anything. So now just imagine if you could put that into the next GTA and each NPC has the technology to be able to respond to anything you say and in detail based on your question. So if you go like, how was your day today? What did you do? They'll tell me.
Yeah.
If I say like, what do you think about your existence? The AI in the game actually fucking responds. It's not like Siri, not even Alexa. Like they're literally sounds like they're specific characters. It blew my mind. I want to play it on the channel.
Futurable is what it's saying over here.
futurable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a demo right now on their
Yeah.
website.
I have NVIDIA.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's mind bending. So, if there's AI technology coming to gaming where each non-playable character, each NPC in the world, imagine thousands of them. Imagine a game like Red Dead.
Yeah.
Imagine a game like GTA where each civilian has a unique conversation ability, has unique characteristics. Insane.
Do you know what I was thinking? Because a lot of people are mentioning GTA and Red Dead and like kind of NPCs, but like I'm kind of thinking it was like, how can it be even more integrated into the game where they're actually being like more like a major part of the game? I started thinking, bro, how about LA Noire, a detective game?
yeah.
And you're speaking with AI that's like, one of these is kind of like a murderer, and depending on what the questions you ask, like that's how it's like it's almost like a detective simulation where like the questions you ask need to be on point, because like sometimes the AI might respond in a certain way, like get crazy into detail.
No, dude, that's a
bro.
great idea, because if you're playing the position of the detective and your mission in the game is to go to all of the witnesses, each of them based on their AI like have their own answers to the
Yeah.
questions. It's not even scripted. They will lead you in a way throughout the investigation in however they choose to lead you. It's
Yeah.
not scripted, it's not written. It's just how the AI in that moment is processing your questions.
And you're actually using good cop, bad cop. Just imagine you might go a
Crazy,
little bit more
dude.
aggressive on one, and the AI responds in a certain way, and then you're like, "Oh, hey man, how's your day? Would you need anything?" And then the AI kind of responds a different way, bro.
So now imagine if those specific AIs, if now they have their own answers to their questions, what if they start coming up with their own ideas? And what if they start making decisions within the game that actually break the game? Like they start going to rob banks. They try to kill you. They spawn kill you. They don't let you load into the game. Just like the trajectory of where it could go if they are at the foundation able to come up with their own thoughts
Yeah.
and opinions. One of them could be a movie writer. Inside their little house in GTA, they're writing scripts all day, and now they've written a movie. Like that, we're pretty far away from that, I think.
And then the
But
next big
just-
idea for a movie, the next blockbuster movie is hidden in a GTA game.
It's gonna change the industry, the tech industry, forever. Like so many jobs, we were talking about this on the podcast with Leo that hasn't been released yet, but just taking away those mundane jobs that exist in technology, or those jobs that AI could supplement and they don't have to pay the salaries for, like
Yeah.
a writer. I think there's a writer strike happening right now. We talked about that on the pod with Brandon as well. So it's just crazy, man. It's going to change everything.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to slowly happen, but just the same way that iPhones just, there's a memory of not having one, and then we have one, and it just never stopped from
Yeah.
there. It just completely overtook culture and everything that we know. I mean, what it means to be a human. I mean, kids nowadays are getting tablets at 2 years old.
Yeah.
Think about that, bro. That's fucking crazy. And what they're able to now learn. There's a lot of critiques on, this is kind of a crazy segue, but when it comes to parenting and, allowing your child to see television or have a tablet and have that access to that information at that young of an age, some of them will say, well, how is that going to affect their attention span? That's kind of like what's happening with TikTok nowadays, right?
Yeah.
It's just you're swiping, and now those kinds of people can't even watch movies.
It's so broken now. If you go on TikTok, you see the like you see TV show clips with like Subway Surfers underneath it, because you're focusing on the two things. You're watching the Subway Surfers, but you also have a show in the back, right above it.
Those
You
get
can
me
switch
all
back
the
and forth.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we're so broken that we have the AI live trend, which is just
Dude.
absurd.
Flower. Thank you. Cowboy. Yeehaw.
Yeah,
Bro, people are making
roses
so
smell so
much
good.
money from that.
I saw that.
it was crazy.
Those make me cringe so hard. That
Oh,
make
it's
me
so bad.
uncomfortable.
And
It's
what's
so bad.
unexpected is we always thought that we would transition, or that AI could eventually transition into having human thoughts. And instead we're in our human forms
going AIs.
towards AIs
Yeah.
and trying to be fucking bots.
Yeah.
Because if that means paying the bills, but humanity has always been like that. whatever pays the bills, whatever
They're
gets
making a
the money,
ton.
they don't give a fuck. Especially with
was
the
it
internet
that-
culture now.
How much was it that Speed made? Speed made that he did like one
In
like,
under an hour, they're making like
stream.
$6,000 to $8,000
Yeah,
just
for
by.
acting like an idiot.
So for anyone that doesn't know, they literally look at the camera like this on TikTok, and they just wait for donations
Well,
to
they
come
gotta
in.
do that bounce.
They're like, "Hey, welcome.
Yeah, there you
Thanks
go.
for the
You gotta get the
flower,"
motion.
and they just have like that scripted motion and way that they're speaking.
Yeah.
And just wait for people to donate, because on TikTok you can give like flowers, you can give like hard eyes, and those are like currencies or something. I don't know. 'Cause
You
I
know
don't-
what? That deep down is reacting. They're reacting to the emojis.
right.
There's one streamer who keeps getting the elephant, and he starts flipping out because it's the elephant. Everybody keeps paying for the elephant over and over and over again. He starts raging worse and worse and worse to the point where he just punches his phone, and then he ends a lot.
I mean, that kind of reminds me of the trends that were happening like on Twitch years ago with donations.
Yeah.
Where people would get huge donations and it's all about the reaction. Like even I think
Yeah.
Mr. Beast did a video where he was just giving out money to different streamers just
Yeah.
based because
Ludwig did it too.
Yeah.
He was doing like $100 donations if you like yell.
Mm-hmm.
Or like just random people he would find with like less than 100 viewers and then just drop $1,000 on them.
dude.
It's crazy. But it was all about the reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it still is. It's still all about the reaction.
Yep.
It's insane.
Yeah. I think people just, that's just what they want to see. And that's been a long thing on YouTube too. A lot of
Yeah.
people that find success on YouTube is just reaction based.
For weird stuff.
Yeah.
Mukbangs.
I'm not a really big fan of that mukbangs. I'm not really a big fan of doing that content because I don't feel like I'm adding that much. I almost feel like it's the most basic form of creativity. It's like, or entertainment even.
Entertainment, not
like,
creativity.
Well, it's almost
I
like
can't even
someone
add
else-
anything. Like you've already
Yeah.
seen it. And, can't believe I saw that. Like,
It's almost like
what am I offering?
The content is already made for you. You just got to put your face on it.
Exactly. And then I feel like a bot. I feel like, what am I doing? Like, that's why I don't like doing trailer reactions, that stuff anymore. I'd rather have like a conversation about it. Like, hey, you guys saw the new Spider-Man trailer. What'd you think about it? And then let's talk about it rather than let me watch it for the first time in front of you.
Robots are becoming more humans, and humans are becoming more robots.
That's what I wanted to say.
I like whenever I'm scrolling through TikTok or Instagram or anything like that, and like I'm seeing like all some like content people make,
Yeah.
and it just seems like, oh, dude, this is so like fake or like fabricated, or
Mm-hmm.
just it's so like it's just them making sure they get views, and there's no creativity involved in it as well. Nothing that want to be new or anything like that. I know it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but those are the same people that aren't creative and aren't really looking to entertain. They're just looking for the outcome, which
Yeah.
is the money. So them doing a mundane thing could actually be freeing for them or enjoyable. But for someone like me, it just makes me miserable. I don't care how much I'm making. That's just like not what wakes me up, makes me happy, gets me excited, wants me to do this thing in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like I don't understand that, but I know that there's people that exist that do that, and whatever, man,
Yum yum yum.
whatever, yum yum yum.
Yeah.
Roses
What if-
smell so good.
What if we just get home one day and you just hear Bella in the other room? Yum 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 yum
No,
yum.
I was like, I'd ask her first, how much have you made so far?
Yeah.
And if it's a good
Great
number,
question.
keep going. If it's a bad number, keep trying.
It's not this, fam. Something else. Something else.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to ask you guys, did you end up seeing the beef that's going on with Andrew Shultz and the Nelk Boys?
I watched the clip of the podcast, the Nelk Boys podcast, and I see where Shultz is coming from, but I think that's just like, I think that's the new content creators coming up. I think that's
Did
like
you?
that
You didn't
younger
watch the
groups.
whole pod though. You
I
saw a
didn't
clip.
watch. I watched where things started getting a little awkward.
Gotcha.
between
So
them.
let me give a little
And
context.
Schultz kind of called him on it, and then they started going on and on and on.
Yeah.
How deep in the podcast? I started watching it, but I was already midway through another podcast
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I saw it. So I finished that first podcast and I didn't get a chance. How deep into the video did it start getting weird?
So
just-
let me give everyone context for anyone that doesn't
he'll probably
know.
I just
So-
saw a video of that part specifically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was a longer video because of how long everything it happened, but
So for anyone that doesn't know, Andrew Shultz, he is a very popular comedian. He has 2 podcasts from what I know, Brilliant Idiots and Flagrant. And he's incredibly successful. And he was, from what I hear, invited onto the Full Send podcast, which is hosted by the Nelk Boys, right? They're like maybe early 20s, just a group of friends, I think, that do a podcast, right? And he was invited onto it. And on the podcast, there was a lot of beef between the host and Andrew. And after it ended, they talked about not releasing it at all. And that's what they did. So this was filmed back in November. They never ended up dropping the actual podcast because after it was over, they talked about it and they were like, it didn't go well. I didn't enjoy myself. You didn't enjoy yourself. You know, some people were saying that Andrew was targeting Steiny, which is one of the hosts, and making fun of him.
The host, that he specifically
making fun of him and stuff, so they didn't do the episode. And then it came out in an interview that episode even existed. No one even knew it was recorded by one of their managers, I think. And then Shultz went on to Flagrant and was like, let's release the pod, show people. And he made some statements on his podcast as to like how he thought it went. He thought that it was super basic. They weren't asking him any interesting questions. They acted like they didn't even know who he was, which is insulting if you're hosting someone on your own podcast, right? You should know enough about them to be able to handle a 2-hour conversation at the very least. So so they ended up actually releasing it, and they released it on Twitter because one of the guys, Steve Will Do It, is banned from YouTube. So his face can't even be shown on YouTube. So they had to drop it on Twitter. And I watched it. I watched the whole thing. And your question was, when does like the first moment happen? Honestly, I love Andrew, but from the moment the podcast started, he was not himself.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but he was not. He was like,
he's with strangers.
Yeah, but maybe. But I felt like he already kind of put up a little bit of a shield.
Yeah.
Not like he had attitude, but he was just very like quiet.
What's
and
going on here?
Just waiting for them to lead. When I like his personality, at least from Flagrant and Brilliant Idiots, like he's not afraid to talk.
Yeah.
And actually, after watching the whole podcast, I watched when he was on a guest on other ones, like the one that you love, Bad Friends.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see like how is he when he's a guest and other things to kind of compare. I went on a whole deep dive, but from the beginning, he was not with it. And then like at minute 40, I think ish, Steiny, the host, pulls out his phone. And then he puts it away. And about a minute or two later, Shultz basically says like, I didn't like that you just did that. And Steiny was like, I was just looking at my notes. Then 30 minutes later, towards the end of the podcast, maybe even a little bit longer, they readdress the situation. Steiny's like, whoa, bro, like, what's your problem? What did I do to upset you? And he was like, I was just looking at my texts. And Shultz didn't address it, but me as a listener go, oh, he lied.
Yeah.
Earlier, he said he was looking at his notes, but he was actually looking at text. He was actually sending text messages. So that was the first thing that sent Shultz, was him taking out his phone and sending text messages in the middle of the podcast. Like, that's, imagine, inexcusable. You can't do that.
Shultz did say that he was under the impression that Steiny was the driver, supposed to be the driver of the podcast. So maybe that's why he was more waiting for Steiny to start driving the podcast. And he kind of just didn't do it.
And in the beginning of the podcast episode, the main kid, fucking, I forget his name. The main kid.
From the Nelk Boys?
Yeah. I forget his name, bro. I don't watch their stuff.
I only know Steve.
I mean, I've seen their stuff, but I don't watch their stuff.
I didn't know Steiny till
Kyle.
Is Kyle Steven? Oh, Steve will do it.
Yeah. Steiny.
Oh my god.
There's Salim. There's Bradley. I think I don't know if Bradley's still on it, but
I know that
there's some subs and stuff.
I've like before I started seeing them more and more in the UFC. Never even heard of Nelk Boys.
No,
I had seen their shit on Insta and YouTube for like 2-3 years now.
I've heard of Steve Will Do It.
Yeah.
But that's about the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah. So, anyways, in the podcast, Steiny's like, have I upset you? And Schultz is like, yeah, and multiple times. And they start like having long conversations about it. He's like, I didn't like that you did that. And they really go into it. And it was just a cool conversation, I thought, because, just imagining myself in their position, like how would I feel about this situation, watching it back and examining it, like how would I have treated things differently? How, where do I think they made a mistake?
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the video, Kyle says, we have like these episodes that we do with just the boys where we kind of just chop it up. And they wanted to treat the Shultz episode like that vibe.
Yeah.
And I think that's what threw Andrew off. Was like, oh, you're treating me like a bro, not like an esteemed guest where you have questions and want to hear about who I am and what I think.
Yeah.
And that probably was like, oh, you kind of downplayed me a little bit. Like, you just expect me to come here and just start talking to you guys. Like, no, I'm a guest here. You're the one that's supposed to initiate the conversation, guide everything. It's the responsibility of the host to guide the podcast, not the guest.
Yeah.
The guest only initiates when they're given the rock, they pass the ball to. That way they're most comfortable. They only talk when they want to or feel like it's right to, and not putting the pressure on them. And I think Andrew felt like the pressure was on him.
But do you think you would, or do you think the way Andrew reacted was an appropriate way to react? Like, obviously, like, he had good, a sense of it, but the way he reacted, the way he called him out on it mid podcast, do you think that's something he should have done after? Or?
It feels consistent with something that he would do as a person. Like, yeah, he feels like the person that would call someone out, especially being a comedian, to just have like a different
I think he had
way of doing things. But I personally would have never addressed it there.
Yeah.
I would have waited for after the recording, just suck it up and play nice and do more to try and make the podcast go well rather than let it sink.
Yeah.
I would like, all right, like, I guess I gotta I'm the host now and just take it.
Yeah, I was going to
think
ask you, well, how
That's what I would
called it.
do.
I think he knew the podcast wasn't going well, and he just resorted to.
He was committed from
not
second
resorting-
one
not
that it was
resorting
not
to
going
it.
well if you
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the first minute, Andrew was committed that this is not going to go well. This shit is sinking.
Do you think that could have been from before they started filming?
So in the pod as well, they do like a little intro, and there's a little vlog piece, and it shows when they first go to dap up Andrew when they first see him, and he's smiling, he's dapping everyone up.
Yeah.
So from that point to when it started, something happened where he felt like the energy was off,
Yeah.
or maybe that smile was really fake, but but it makes you think, man. Makes you think, like, if you're in that position. But I definitely wouldn't have let it sink like that.
Yeah.
He was, even the spikes, like the moments that were good on the pod were like,
You
he
could
was
feel it.
trying, but like it just wasn't.
Yeah.
They all were just trying to like act like they were boys.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'd do that with a guest of that level. Like, I can have some humility. I'm hosting a podcast. This is a comedian who sells out stadiums, who goes on tour, who's very well respected and loved in the in the groups of comedians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got guts to actually call him out like that.
Only a comedian would.
I would
Yeah.
not. I'd probably react the same way you are. Like, I'll suck it up and I'll mention it at the end of it, if that. But yeah.
I think it's more because it's Schultz.
Yeah.
He doesn't. If you've seen his comedy special, his newest one, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He doesn't care, and I think that's just him, his personality, and I think that will carry over into.
That's what I was saying.
Day-to-day.
It's consistent with who he is.
Yeah.
That is something that Andrew would do.
Yeah.
The way that he chose to navigate the conversation.
Which is a good thing at some points.
Yeah, I mean, he's being him, and I could tell he was being him. And the other thing is, he kept picking on Steiny for like, he kept saying to him, I can't tell if you're trolling or not.
Yeah.
He was basically like, you're so fake, I can't even talk to you.
That's
Because
what
I can't tell, like, if you're asking me questions to, like, get something out of me or, like, you're really being authentic.
Yeah.
That's
and
what
that
I
was the
meant.
thing that was bothering him.
That's what I meant earlier when I said I think it's these new content creators was just coming out of the troll era, where it's some of the
Maybe.
personalities can. Not that he was being a troll. I don't think he was.
I don't think he was
He was just
trolling.
underprepared for the.
When I see it from their point of view, like I'm thinking about the Nelk Boys and how they acted and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I don't think that they did anything blatantly disrespectful. I didn't feel like their line of questioning was as bad as Andrew made it out to be in his podcast before they actually dropped it. He made it out to be like, bro, they were asking me like, do I do comedy? Like, I'm a comedian.
Have I ever been heckled?
Yeah, something
was
like that. It's
yeah.
like,
Which is Andrew Schultz's last special was 90% heckling.
Exactly.
Reacting to
Exactly.
It
crowd.
was crowd work.
so,
Yeah.
so I went in to watch the episode. I'm like, damn, they don't know nothing. But they never said anything like that. They didn't ask a question that was that basic. He kind of exaggerated a little bit, but to his credit,
Comedian.
yeah, and he sold it.
Yeah.
More people watched it because of what he said. I watched it because
I
of
don't
what he
care
said.
about the Nelk Boys, and I watched the clip. You know,
Exactly.
because I was just like, "What's going on?"
Yeah.
You know.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, when you're that successful, like Andrew, like you're making business moves, bro. You know, like, oh shit, you know, let's market this. Let's come up with some beef. Even if it was natural, you're playing into it because you know, all right, if there's a little beef attached to it, if a little back and forth, more eyes, more marketing, people are gonna watch it, and it's gonna do well.
I know the Nelk Boys have a pretty good following, but these big personalities going on these smaller podcasts, like we just saw with Drake and Bobby, who came out of nowhere. Nowhere. I've never seen her in my life, and then the next clip I see is her in a bed with Drake.
Yeah, insane. You said you didn't know anything about this.
No.
So this girl named Bobbi, I believe she had 1 to 2 episodes.
Bobby's a girl name.
She might have had 2 episodes.
it's
Yes,
a girl,
and
yeah.
and that happens in the video. But her first 2 podcasts that she did, her guests were like, one of them was a comedian, and I'm not sure about the other one. But the third one ever that she's ever done was with Drake.
Jeez.
Now, her second podcast episode which was with Marco, funny Marco, right?
Funny guy Marco.
Funny guy Marco.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is,
Never heard
but
of
it
him.
was popping on TikTok.
Yeah.
Right? Every day I open TikTok, that clips from that podcast were getting recommended to me. But you know what else was trending during that time when I was getting that? People's cell phone footage from the Drake tour that's happening right now. And all I was getting in my shit was Drake.
Yeah.
Drake and her.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, of other things too. But we were just talking about it off recording, but Drake saw an opportunity, marketing genius. He's on tour right now. He's about to drop a new project. What's the hottest thing happening right now in the podcast world, which is one of the biggest mediums? This girl's clips are going viral.
Yeah.
Boom, hop on her podcast for the 3rd episode and just eat up all of those views for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so smart. When you're on the top, bro, those little decisions is what keeps you on top.
Speaking of Drake being on tour, I wanted to ask you this because I was thinking about it earlier. Because I saw a TikTok of somebody Shazamming a song at Drake's concert, and it was off. Honestly, never mind.
Yeah.
Do you
I
think
saw that clip.
Do you think that album is starting to get more numbers now that people are actually listening to it in the right atmosphere? Because
good question.
Because when that released, it's a club album.
Yeah,
was
it was
dropped at,
dropped in the summer.
But it
was
dropped
after COVID. I think people were expecting something
1 in
else.
the morning. You know.
Yeah.
But
he does that.
Yeah.
I mean, if
But
you're
it's a
asking me
different
personally, I
atmosphere.
loved that project.
I
We've
did
talked
too.
about it. We both really like it.
Yeah.
It's a perfect summer vibe. I love when Drake flexes how flexible he is within music and how many different genres he can do. I think a pure artist is painting different pictures constantly.
Yeah.
It's not the same thing. The same thing as a businessman. New approaches as a creative. And I think if you're thinking about him as a creative artist, I love when he tries new things. That's what you'll be remembered for as a true artist.
One of our community members called him. He doesn't like him because he says Drake's too repetitive, and I can't find songs that are too repetitive.
Sonically, hell no. But maybe like, you know, what he does with his voice and stuff like that. I mean, he's changed a lot throughout the years, but maybe like his approach to songwriting.
Yeah.
Because I think in the songwriting is how you can really make a song go viral or make it repeatable, not necessarily the sounds and the music of it. It's mostly like the writing and the delivery of the writing. So that's where he'll flex like his business muscle, knowing like if I do this line, if I do this like this and kind of write it like this, maybe I've done it a few times and this melody is kind of the same. I know it works. I know people will keep listening to it over and over and over again. And if you're chasing greatness, you have to have the business and the artistry kind of in harmony. You know, you can't just neglect one for the other. Some can be successful doing that, but you kind of have like a period of spike and then it starts to dwindle down. You know what I mean? Like arguably even someone like a Cole and a Kendrick, like yes, they'll hit those numbers and yes, they are great, but their approach hasn't brought them to those heights and won't, because they're not flexing that business muscle the same way that Drake might be willing to. If that makes sense with his songwriting and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But anyways, boys, I want to talk about UFC.
Yes.
Because UFC 291 is this Saturday, right? Headlining Dustin Poirier, Gaethje, incredible fight. We're huge UFC fans. For anyone that doesn't know, we are actually going to UFC 292 in Boston. So hyped for that. It's going to be Aljamain Sterling versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. That is the main fight on that card. Can't fucking wait. Can't wait for that. We already bought our tickets. We're secured, ready to go. And this weekend, we have some really big fights. And I think on this podcast, we'll be talking a lot about UFC because it's something that we're all three of us are actively watching and enjoying.
Yeah.
You know, once football season comes around, we'll definitely get into that and stuff. Because I know the three, you and I watch football. He doesn't, but UFC is kind of the thing that we all share as far as sports go. So we'll definitely be able to talk about it quite a bit. But we wanted to give our picks for this weekend, just so they're out there in the universe, you know what I mean? Because if I guess them all right, I want to be able to have footage that says that I guessed it all right. So we're gonna start at the top of the card. I don't know if Armand will add this afterwards or not. You guys will be able to see this, but the first fight on the main card at the bottom is going to be Michael Chiesa versus Kevin Holland. I think Kevin Holland is on a losing streak right now. He broke his hand and then he lost his last fight, right? I'm pretty sure. And then Chiesa, honestly, I'm not really that
familiar with
Chiesa, but I've seen him on the broadcast, which is disrespectful because I know the hardcore UFC fans be like, how do you not know who the fuck that is? But for anyone that doesn't know, I hopped into UFC right during COVID because no live things were happening, and I love live shit. And UFC was still going. And that's when it got me hooked, man.
Yeah.
Hooked. I mean, when I was a little kid, I saw the second season of The Ultimate Fighter when I was like 10. My brother got me the DVD copy, and I watched all of them. Loved it. So I've always had like my hand on it a little bit, but never really
He won his last
committed
fight.
to it. He won his last fight, Kevin Holland? Okay, so he broke.
Don't even ask me to pronounce this guy's name. It's Santiago. You could look it
I
up.
think I saw it, bro.
Yeah.
We definitely watched it together, I think.
Yeah.
And he lost his the next two.
Then he lost
before Stephen Thompson and Chimaev.
And it says that Holland is unranked here, huh?
I was surprised he was so far
And
down
Chiesa's
on the card.
12. Yeah, it's probably because he's unranked. Yeah. So I know that my pick for this is definitely Kevin Holland. That's my pick. How about you guys?
I think I'm gonna agree with you. He does have a pretty substantial edge and reach.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with Holland too. He's got to get back into the rankings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we see? Fam, can you pull up the stats of like?
I think this fight should be.
How did you get to that, Ledge?
This is UFC.
UFC.com.
Yeah.
Oh, because on his screen he can see like their reach and height and all that statistics.
It's all in the middle for me because I'm on the smaller screen.
Interesting. Who's your pick? Oh yeah. Hit that button, the top right corner.
Right here.
Yeah. Let us zoom out.
Oh, there we go.
Bada bing, bada boom. Okay.
Yeah. It's tough. I can always see it going either way because I know these two guys are just absolute beasts. So it's not like a 100% pick.
Are you more familiar with Michael?
I'm a little bit more. I think I've seen some highlights of him.
I don't remember the last time
I know this guy's a beast. He's strong. From what I remember, I think he's just like a good striker. You know, one of these tough guys that just bites down on the guard and, you know,
Oh, you know what?
throws down.
I think I remember him.
If that's the person I'm remembering correctly. So I know he's definitely a good fight.
I think just because you said that, I think I remember him.
Kevin Holland is very strategic though, and he's smart with his attacks and everything like that.
Yeah.
For a good amount. The last two people he lost to were Chimaev, which is like, you know, obviously.
Yeah.
That's a different
draw,
level.
right?
By the way, he got booked against Paulo Costa,
Yeah,
and I think October in Abu Dhabi. Oh my god, that's gonna be a good fucking fight.
Yeah.
I think he probably destroys Paulo Costa.
Oh, for sure.
But those two personalities coming together, I think it's gonna be fiery.
It's gonna be a good fight.
Yeah.
But Kevin Holland, the last two people he lost to were Chimaev, which is he's a beast, and then Stephen Thompson, where they made you know, a non-official verbal agreement that they're gonna keep the fight on the feet. And Kevin Holland dropped Stephen Thompson. He had the opportunity to jump on top of him, and he didn't. He let him back up, and then he lost by points after that. But like he could have won that fight realistically. So Kevin Holland, he's on. Well, you know, he's lost a couple, but he's still very, very good. So I'm gonna play it safe and go Kevin Holland as well.
Alrighty. Tony Ferguson versus Bobby Green.
I think this is honestly no disrespect to Tony Ferguson. I think this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, Bobby, right?
Bobby.
Yeah.
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 So.
Yeah, I mean,
I
after
hate to
he
say
got
it.
fucking,
I hate to say it.
after that fucking front kick from
He
Chandler,
had
bro.
another fight after that,
I mean,
though.
before that, I knew he wasn't the same anymore, and he's older now. But after that, bro,
'Cause he
and
fought,
seeing that footage of when he came out of the cage and he hugged, what's his face? Blanking on his name. But he just did not.
He's on a
look.
two-fight
I mean, that's
losing
what
streak.
happens when you get knocked out, right?
Two-fight
You're not
losing
there,
streak.
but 2-fight losing streak.
Yeah.
He's older. I was hearing though, because I just watched.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Three-fight.
3-fight losing streak.
Dariush, Chandler, and then Diaz. Nate Diaz.
Okay. So I did see on Embedded,
Okay.
the UFC Embedded series, on episode 1, Ferguson was talking about his training and saying like, I finally feel free, like I'm feeling different. I'm like, maybe, but I don't know if it's gonna
I
matter.
don't feel like he said that before, but
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. I feel like you've heard. I feel like you said this 5 or 6
I
times.
mean, what fighter realistically before a fight is going to be like, I don't know how I feel. I'm not 100%. They always say, I feel great. This is the best me.
Best I've ever felt. Best
And-
shape of my life.
And
He's
then
on- he's on
immediately
a
after,
five
it's just
streak.
like, immediately after, it's just like, I woke up sick. I'm not the, you know, I
Yeah.
wasn't at 100%. And I'm like, where was that before the fight?
yeah,
5-fight losing streak.
5-fight losing streak.
Who are they two? I know one of them is Charles.
I don't know if he won the Cerrone fight. This is the only one. There's no win or loss here.
Maybe it was canceled or no contest or
No,
something.
because it was ended in the second round via TKO.
But it doesn't say who won. Oh, okay,
no.
that's weird.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, we all think.
Gaethje, Oliveira, Dariush, Chandler, Diaz. Which,
I mean, those
what
are
a-
big
What a
names.
history.
Those are big.
Those are
names.
big names.
Yeah.
And Bobby Green's like right in the middle of those big names. Like
Yeah.
not middle, like amongst them. Like he's the step before the big names.
Yeah.
He's like the guy who can be. What's his rank right now? I think he's definitely not in the
I don't
top
think
like
he's-
7
he's
or 8,
unranked, I'm
right?
pretty sure.
He's unranked now. I mean, he is on a losing streak. And I think Tony's too stiff. So moving on, but definitely picking Bobby Green. Now we got Stephen Thompson versus Michael Pereira.
This one's tougher.
Or
This one-
Pereira, I should actually say right.
one's
But as
tougher
you
to
later,
me.
Do you want me to get it? Michael Pereira.
Pereira. Oh, brasileiro.
I love.
Yeah,
It's
I
tough
know.
to go against the Brazilians,
it's
man.
very hard to go
But I
against
like
Brazilian
Steven.
fighters.
I love Steven, and honestly, I'm not saying this just because I'm Brazilian, but I like the way Michael Pereira fights. I think he's a bit more aggressive, and I think he has a good chance of getting Steven on the ground. And I've seen his striking, and I've seen a little bit of Michael Pereira's like grappling, and I think he's got a little bit of an edge on Stephen Thompson. Stephen Thompson, he's just got that karate stance, which is so
It's
unique.
so dope to look
It's
at.
so cool.
Okay, you swayed me. I'm going with Pereira.
I agree with that. He's on a 5-fight win streak, 10 wins by knockout, 7 by submission.
Wow. And what about Thompson? What's his most recent fight record or streak?
Was it Holland?
Yes, it was.
Holland, right?
Yeah.
He beat Kevin Holland. on an iffy fight. Kevin, once again, Kevin hit him with a good thing, knocked him down. He didn't pounce. He didn't jump on him. They had a verbal agreement where they wanted to keep the fight interesting, so they wanted to bring it back up. But it was kind of like, dude, you kind of lost that fight because Kevin Holland, he's known to be very showboaty, very verbal,
Right.
Kind of like joking around a lot in the ring.
Right.
And I definitely felt like, dude, that cost him the fight, because when watching the fight, I 100% felt like Kevin Holland was gonna win. And then as the fight was going on, it was like he just letting him piece him up way too much. And then Stephen Thompson got the edge.
No.
Yeah. Holland was his last opponent. He won against Holland. He lost against Bilal Muhammad, and then he lost against Gilbert.
Oh, I mean, those are big fights as well.
Yeah, that was
Gilbert, yeah.
I'm
Gilbert's a
gonna go with
tough
Pereira
customer.
though. I'm taking Pereira because of what you said, and he's Brazilian, bro. But I like them
so
both.
hard to go
Yeah.
against
I like
Brazilian
'em both.
fighters, man.
It really
They're
is.
just so good.
Anytime I see a Brazilian or a Russian,
Yeah.
just give it to him.
And now we're getting Brazilian versus a Russian.
Uh-huh.
Whose country do you go
Yeah.
for
That's
more?
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that one. All right, next one.
Next one.
We're all
next
taking
one.
Pereira. Nah, there we go.
Another
Jan versus Pereira.
Pereira.
I'm all Jan.
Alex Pereira.
I'm
Jan.
very interested in this fight because I think he was definitely Alex getting chinny at the middleweight weight class, right?
Oh, he moved up.
Izzy was tagging him. He was getting rocked easily. And he's just already such like a stiff, slow mover that moving up weight class, I mean, he put on like 30 pounds, I think, for this fight. He's healthy. I don't think he'll be as chinny, but I don't know, man. I think Jan might be more of that like motherfucker, bro.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? Like he's just gonna go for it and
gonna
just
be more well-rounded.
it's just different because I think when you think about Pereira's climb towards the championship fight, he was fighting a lot of people that were stand up and were kind of backing up to him, even with Izzy, kind of like he would be the first
Yeah.
to not instigate, but to to start making forward moves, offensive moves.
Yeah.
And I think Jan's just not going to let that happen.
No.
I think he's going to be right there trying to make the first
I mean, it's
strike.
Strickland, Izzy. That's his last.
Yeah.
No, the climb before that, but right before he fought Izzy for the first time.
I'm just saying. I think.
I mean,
him being
Sean's a
so-
joke. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Who else has he fought?
Strickland
Recently,
versus
does it say?
Izzy is gonna be. That one's got a lot of beef.
Bruno Silva.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
I don't know. I don't remember that either. I just remember watching them. I didn't know
And
the fighters
then
as much,
I
but
don't
they
know
were
this
not.
guy either.
They were not a big challenge.
Yeah.
So my pick for this one is definitely Jan. I'm going Jan.
Yeah, I agree.
I
I'm
don't
with Jan.
dislike Pereira though.
No.
Even though Izzy's my guy, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
Izzy-
think Jan is more that guy
Yeah.
for this fight.
Izzy's my guy as well. So even when Izzy and Pereira were fighting, I was all for Izzy winning the fight on both fights.
Same.
Both of them.
Same.
So it's not again. I might just risk and just go Pereira just to be different, because we've been agreeing on all of these
Yeah,
so
we
far.
sure.
That's true.
And I'm gonna base it off of only pure, trust in Pereira. Maybe he's studying Jan. Maybe he's Jan, right? Yeah, Jan. Maybe he studied Jan. Maybe he's prepared in a different way. He's more comfortable in his weight class, and maybe he's gonna pull something out of the bag.
I don't know, bro. I don't think you can be comfortable in a new weight class in 2 months.
Nope.
I think he's gonna feel tired
Hey, if
early. Is this a 3-round or 5-round fight?
3 round.
3-round.
Oh, okay. That's a different story. I'll
What-
still go with Jan though.
if I'm putting money on it, I'm putting Jan. But I just want to be, like devil's advocate.
Yeah, I mean,
want
if
to be
it-
different, and I'm just gonna, put a little bit of trust.
If this was a 5-round fight, I'd put 1,000 on Jan.
Oh yeah.
All right, next one. I think we're all going with Jan minus
Me, I'll go pay
Fam is going Pereira.
to switch it up a little bit on
All
you
right.
guys.
Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje. This is a banger. Their last meetup, Dustin ended up winning, but in interviews, Dustin has said that the leg kicks during that fight were the worst pain he's ever felt. He didn't feel like he even had a fucking leg after that fight.
Gaethje
So I
has
know that this fight scared Dustin, and he
legs
said in
of steel.
interviews,
Legs of steel, Gaethje.
bro, and I don't know what you can do to stop him. Like Justin just throws him in a way that's just it's clean, man. And I don't think Dustin wants to be. I mean, he has to check it, but that's not what you want your main focus to be, especially when that's just kind of like a thing that you can't avoid. I think this fight's gonna be a brawl. The last one was a brawl.
Yep.
God, it's a fucking hard choice, man. They're so equal. There might not be two fighters in the entire UFC other than when Moreno and fucking
Yeah.
Figueiredo did like 4 fights in a row.
Yeah.
But they're so even, man. Like their styles, the way they fight, it's just so similar. But I think I'm leaning Dustin.
So I'm excited about this just because I know Chandler. He's kind of like I view them as like brothers almost.
Yeah.
because they're very similar. And
Yep.
Chandler is that third edition. Chandler versus Gaethje was up there as one of my favorite fights in the UFC. That was such a beautiful, violent fight. So I'm really, really, really excited about this one. I'm gonna give it. If I had to make my pick, I'm just gonna give it a little bit to Gaethje. I just see him as a little bit of a more hard-headed bite down and kind of swing, and he's got those leg kicks, and he's Dustin's amazing, but this one's honestly a toss-up. But I'm leaning just a centimeter more towards Gaethje.
I agree. I agree. I think I'm gonna go Gaethje as well. What a
It's a
fight!
tough one, man.
That was hard.
Can we be honest? This is 100% going to be the fight of the year, right? 100%.
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you're just kind of we got some bangers coming up soon.
I think this is it.
I think this is fight of the year.
Yeah.
What did you say, Chandler or Gaethje? Oh no, sorry, Dustin or Gaethje?
Dustin.
You said Dustin.
Yeah, I'm going with Dustin. I think they're both very evenly matched. I like them both very much. Every time they're fighting, I'm watching and I'm cheering for both of them. I think both of their styles are very unique. When I imagine in my mind which one of them has that heart, that will, that everything that you need to become a champion or to try to become a champion again, because Dustin had the belt, but it wasn't undisputed. I think Dustin has a tiny bit more edge of being that guy who's ready to be a champion. I just don't know if Justin has it
Yeah.
like that. Like he has it for being in the top 5, but to be the champ, I don't know. And Dustin's been in there with Habib. He got choked out. He's been in there with Connor. Those are big names, man. Big and performers at the highest level with the lights when they're the brightest. And Gaethje has, fallen short, right? Who did Gaethje lose to in the championship fight? It was Charles, right?
Charles, yeah.
He got spanked by Charles.
Yeah.
Did he get choked out by Charles?
I think so.
And
I
Dustin
think
Justin got
choked.
choked out as well.
They both
Yeah.
got choked.
So Justin
Charles choked
Gaethje
both of
and
them
Dustin
out.
Poirier, they both their fights were extremely similar, where they pieced Charles up in the first round. I think both of them even got him down, and then on the second round, I want to say Charles hits him with the backpack and rear naked choke. I think
Yeah.
Chandler was the only one that was a little bit different, but it was also second
Yeah,
round.
Chandler
I
was the
wanna s-
knockout.
but it was a knockout, yeah. But all three of them very similar fights, if
Mm-hmm.
I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm taking Dustin on this one. And you got
I got Gaethje, but it's a coin toss for
Toss-up,
me. It's
yeah.
a toss up.
I'm going Gaethje as well.
ooh, so you're paid out on your own on that one, and I'm alone with Dustin on this one. I think if you were to ask Bella, she would say Dustin as well.
Dustin is, I see him more as like, I don't know, strategic, smarter than Gaethje. Gaethje is a great striker and everything. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's just bite down and just swing. But I view him a little bit more of just like a bite down and swing kind of person. Versus Dustin, I think he's a little bit more strategic. He's a bit more slow and kind of smart with his punches and everything like that.
Yeah.
But then when they both lock up, then midway, I hope there's a moment in this fight where rounds ending and they just got to bite down. They go full out. Bro.
It's gonna be a bloody fight. This is 3 rounds, right? Yeah, because I think if it was 5, someone would be dead by the end of it. Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right, well, those are our picks. Boys, is there anything else that we wanted to discuss before we close out today, man?
I think that's good.
Well,
Quick question though, but
Yeah.
We kind of wish we talked about this a little bit before, but in any of these ones that we talked about, do you see them more going the distance, or are you imagining some people just getting knocked out? Like, who do you think is going to get knocked out in this?
I honestly think Justin and Gaethje could go the distance.
Yeah.
Justin and Gaethje. Oh my god. Gaethje and Poirier could go the distance. The Jan fight, no. Thompson fight, no. Ferguson fight could be a finish. And I think this Kevin Holland fight will be a finish.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it.
That's kind of my summary. I think Kevin Holland, I feel like there's going to be either probably a TKO in there. Bobby Green and Ferguson. I don't see Ferguson tapping. So if it is an early stop, it's going to be a knockout as well.
Yeah.
And then Pereira, I feel Pereira and Stephen Thompson. I don't know why I'm feeling a knockout in this one.
Yeah.
Let's see.
All right, boys. Well, I appreciate you guys, for everyone watching. Man, this is the first of many episodes. This is actually going to be a weekly thing that we do at the same time, same release. We're going to figure out which day we're going to choose, but we are recording every week, so expect these episodes. Like the video. Let us know what you thought in the comments. We'll see you next week.